Hello y'all, hope you're all doing well. This is RJ here in Courtland, Virginia. Here at Southampton County Confederate Memorial, and the courthouse, historic courthouse, is just right over here. I'll walk over there in just a little bit. Also, stop over there at the Mahone Tavern, where famous Confederate General William Mahone spent his youth before he went to VMI, before he became a famous Confederate general, and also a U.S. Senator for Virginia. It's a beautiful site. I've been here multiple times before. Last time I was here, there was a lot of construction going on right here. This whole area was under construction right off to the side, and it looks like they finished most of it now. But it's a beautiful scene. I wanted to share this with you while I was here. This is a memorial as a tribute to our loyal sons by the comrades and friends. It was dedicated back in 1902. And I love how this is designed right here. This county has done a very good job, and Russell, who was here, did a wonderful job maintaining this. There's bricks along the edge, and there's an explanation of what those bricks are about right here. So I'm going to share those with you. And also, this is another great example of how this is lit up at night. All these memorials should be lit up at night. As it says right here, not forgotten. The 219 names that are engraved on the bricks before you are the men from Southampton County who gave their lives defending their family, friends, and their homes from the northern invaders. They were killed in action or died from wounds or diseases in the War of Northern Aggression, 1861 to 1865. We honor their bravery and ultimate sacrifice. We will not forget their struggle to preserve the principles on which our country was founded. Don't you love how that's worded? It's placed there over 10 years ago. Unfortunately, the gentleman who placed it here has passed on about a decade ago, but his words live on. It says, originally dedicated back in September 17th, 1902, moved to the present site and rededicated September 27th, 1992. This is by the Lockhart Gillette Camp 1471 Sons of Confederate Veterans. Thank you, SCV, for doing that. It's just a beautiful scene here. Nottoway River is just beyond this brush is over here. There is a cannon that was normally here, but it's over a friend's house. It's being refurbished, and they will place the cannon back here, because after all, there's non-stop construction that was right over here up until recently. But a beautiful memorial. I'm going to walk around and show you what the SCV camp did here. I love going to these sites and seeing the engraved names of those who served. And you can see them right here. Salute to those soldiers whose names are engraved right here. All those from this county who answered the call. They did their duty to serve and protect and defend their homes, their families, and their homeland against a deadly, destructive invasion. So this county right here is the far south side of Virginia. In fact, it borders the North Carolina state line. You can see the names of those right here in the bricks that are mentioned on the engraving. And the names around, as you can continue to see right here. I'm not going to look at all of them right now. But what a great example of a memorial. You can see right here, Sic Semper Tyrannis, our Confederate dead. A tribute to loyalty by comrades and friends, dedicated 1902. Going around the side here, we have a listing of the companies from this county. You can see the 3rd Virginia Infantry, the 3rd Virginia Infantry, 13th Virginia Cavalry, 9th Virginia Infantry, 18th Virginia Battalion Artillery, 41st Virginia Infantry. Glad to see the lights. Oh, lights just turned on for a moment. As it says right here, with shouts above the cannon's roar, they joined the legions gone before. They bravely fought, they bravely fell. They wore the gray, they wore it well. Nice engraving here on the side. The battle flag. The historic courthouse off in the background. This county actually dates back to, I think it was 1749. It's broke off from Isle of Wight at one time, which was actually a part of one of the first shires of America. See right here. This shaft, on which we carve no name, shall guide Virginia's youth, a signpost on the road to fame, to honor and to truth. A silent sentry it shall stand, to guard through coming time, their graves who died for native land, and did most sublime. Once again, I think it's worth mentioning that one more time. This shaft on which we carve no name shall guide Virginia's youth, a signpost on the road to fame, to honor and to truth. A silent sentry it shall stand, to guard the coming time, their graves who died for native land, and duty most sublime. Beautiful. So I'm looking forward to them returning that up here. I got the Virginia flag. Now I have seen them change it out. They have had the first national flag in the past as well. I think they'll maybe put the second and third national flag in maybe at some point as well. I might come back to this and finish up here, but once again, I love this comment in the front. So one thing that is new is, I don't want to forget this as well. This is the Jerusalem chapter of the UDC that has this bench off to the side. And it's Jerusalem because that was actually, as I understand, the first name of this town. Jerusalem, before they named it Courtland. So it's now Courtland. It is now the county seat of Southampton. This was placed here back in September 22nd, 2002. There's a good juxtaposition of the courthouse and the memorial. I can barely see, you probably can't see it very well, but right beyond these bushes is the brush is Nottoway River, just down here. I wish they'd cleared this out right here so you can see the river down below. Now, one thing that is new, there are several historical markers. Those are new since I've been here. I've been here a half dozen times over the years. Before they started the construction, while they were doing the construction, and afterwards. I did take a tour of the Mahone house. I'm going to walk over to the Mahone Tavern in just a moment. I did take a tour through there, and looking forward to going back in. I tried to contact the gentleman, but couldn't get a hold of him today. But these are all new since I was here last. It is worth mentioning that it was in this county the famous or infamous Nat Turner Rebellion took place. You might remember Nat Turner took place in 1831, and he went around and killed 60 white folks, almost entirely women and children. And Mahone actually was one of the ones who almost was a victim of that. So that took place in this county. I saw a historical marker a couple years back, and speaks maybe a little about that here. Let's just read part of this. A crossing of the Nottoway. Once again, that's part of the river that's just beyond the Confederate Memorial right here. After the clash with members of the Southampton militia a few miles away at Parker's Field, Nat Turner was determined to continue to Jerusalem, which is today's Courtland. Directing 20 or so of his men to follow lesser used roads, Turner believed that he could cross the Nottoway River downstream from the county seat where Cypress Bridge stood. Turner's command numbered approximately 60 men before the skirmish at Parker's Field. Many ran away or were injured during that engagement. With his command now down to 20, Turner believed he would recruit more followers en route to Jerusalem. He planned to take the town from the east, terrorizing and killing its inhabitants. He also needed more arms and ammunition. He thought he would find these supplies in abundance in town. Although he overlooked some of his followers who rejoined his command, Turner soon realized that Cypress Bridge was defended by too many militiamen for the insurgents to cross. Turner then retreated to Major Riley's quarters. En route, the insurrectionists passed Thompson, the home of the Thompson family. 13-year-old George Henry Thompson bravely orchestrated his family's escape. Later, he would attend the United States Military Academy and serve as a leading Union general during the Civil War. And that's who they're referring to. You recognize this gentleman right here. That's who they're referring to. After striving in vain to collect more recruits and suffering his defeat at the Blunt House, Turner decided to return to the Cross Keys section of the county the next morning. He was confident that he could muster more men there and then decide whether to begin his raid anew or retreat into the dismal swamp. So it's a little connection, a little interesting history with George Thomas. Here's a section on John Brown, slave narrative. I'm not going to read all this. You can read this, I'm sure, in Historical Marker Database. So these are all new since I was here last. Now, how much better would it have been if they actually had a historical marker about this historical marker that's right here? Why didn't they do that? There should be a historical marker about this beautiful memorial here, a marker about those who fought in America's largest, bloodiest war, which in every way far outweighs these. After all, it says right there, hundreds served and died during the war, the largest war in America's history. There should be a sign about that. Those who served. And maybe it's over here. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I saw some more historical markers as I walked in over here. These are also new that I see. Now I'm going to start making a transition over to the Mahone Tavern. So once again, it's nice to see this court building. Back up. I'm hoping there's more information about that, because the first one dates back to the 1740s, and later on there was a couple of them burned down in a row. This one right here dates back, I thought it was 1830s. I'm a little uncertain, but I believe the original courthouse, which is right across the street from Mahone Tavern. That is where Confederate General William Mahone, right across the street, that is where he spent his time as a teenager. They said he became very good at earning money through gambling and other things. He earned enough money to go to VMI. Later became a Confederate general. Okay, let's take a look at some of these new signs they just placed here. Hopefully these are practical. It says Southampton County was established in 1749. Before the Europeans arrived, the south area south of the Blackwater River was inhabited by Native Americans, primarily the Nottoway Indians. Speaks here, I'm not going to read all this, the cash crops. You can read this, you can stop the video if you like, of course. Here's the Colonization Society. And I think this, I might focus on this one. It says, you are at the site of the 1795 federal-style Southampton County Courthouse, and that is right here. The trials of Nat Turner and many of his followers were held here after the defeat of their insurrection in 1831. The 1795 courthouse was replaced in 1834. The new design was an austere brick temple form building with a pedimented gable, simple cornice, and lunette window. It says a portico was added in 1926, providing a provincial Greek revival look. The courthouse was expanded in 2002. All right, so I was generally right. This was the 1795 courthouse. It was replaced in 1834. So what you see here was the 1834 on the edge of it. You can read about Governor John Floyd here. John Floyd, governor of Virginia in 1831, desired that the normal judicial process be followed when dealing with the captured insurrectionists. He wished to avoid widespread vigilante justice once the revolt had been suppressed. Consequently, a court was convened in which the county only had jurisdiction in capital cases of bondsmen. Here's the trial. Of course, this is all about the side of the insurrectionists. That is Nat Turner, the Nat Turner Rebellion that took place right here. It says after the rebellion, the captured alleged insurrectionists were arraigned for trial. The hearing was held between August 31st and November 21st, 1831, when Nat Turner and his fellow conspirators were charged with conspirating to rebel and making insurrection. Of the 53 enslaved people arraigned, 18 were executed, 21 were discharged, 12 were transported into slavery elsewhere, 5 free persons of color were arrested. The cases against Arnold, Turner were dismissed. Thomas and others were bound over to trial as the next session of the Superior Court. Only Newsom was convicted. He was executed on May 11th, 1832. So once again, the Nat Turner Rebellion that took place in this county, that's what they're speaking of right here. I'm working my way over to in front of the courthouse and the Mahone Tavern, which is over there. And there are historical signs over there, so we might as well read some of those. So this is the county jail, and it looks like I can see a pattern here. These are all about Nat Turner. Now I wish there was more information about other things of this county, besides for just Nat Turner. We don't need to focus all our attention on just that, but hey, don't want to forget it. But the county jail where Nat Turner was held in 1831, a simple wooden structure stood right here next to the Southampton County Courthouse. Built as a jail, the small building held Nat Turner and many of his followers before trial and during the time between their sentencing and execution. Nat Turner's capture. When his rebellion collapsed, Nat Turner returned to the insurrection site on Captain Pond Road. He hid for more than 2 months in makeshift caves until Benjamin Phillips captured him. Turner was delivered to the jail on October 31st, 1831. Governor John Floyd had authorized a $500 reward for Turner's capture. Turner was chained and shackled upon his arrival. An extra militia guard ensured that no plot occurred to allow the escape of the insurrection's leader. You can read more about this right here. Justice of the peace sentenced Turner to be hanged by the neck until he be dead. Turner remained in jail until judgment was carried out. He was executed on November 11th, 1831. Here is a drawing of Nat Turner, unknown artist. Dred Scott was born with slave status in Southampton County around 1798. So there's a lot of interesting aspects to this, right? Nat Turner, also Dred Scott, all here in Southampton County. Once again, this county is on the far south side of Virginia, right up again, it butts the North Carolina state line. The Blows moved to Alabama and later St. Louis, where they sold Dred to John Emerson, a physician serving in the Army. So I'm not going to read all this. I just wanted to take a look at some of these signs right here. Since these are all new, since I came here last. All right, so this is downtown, some historic scenes, sites around here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk across the street. I see a historical sign across the street. This is the Historical Society. This is the Rochelle Prince House. This house dates back to 1827. I'd love to be able to see that. If I was around here, I'd probably join them because I like to join the historical societies, county historical societies, whenever I'm around. So you can see the Southampton County Courthouse right off to the left here. Here is the Rochelle Prince House. This is the home of one of Cortland's most significant properties on the National Register of Historic Places. The Rochelle Prince House, built in 1814, is an excellent example of a southeastern Virginia residence with federal influence. The house was enlarged in 1827. Miss Lully Prince donated the house to the Southampton County Historical Society. So I'm not going to read all this, but you can read some of this right here. It says, across the street you see the 1834-1926 Southampton County Courthouse, which to replace the court building where Nat Turner was brought for trial in 1831. As a county clerk, James Rochelle participated on the trial on November 5th, which resulted in Turner's conviction and ultimate execution. Rochelle also recorded all the trials and court actions associated with the insurrection. So pretty cool. Oh, sir?
Would you like to walk the grounds?
Oh, just briefly, that'd be great.
Come on.
If you don't mind, I'm doing a non-stop video right now, if that's okay with you. I'm just doing a non-stop video right now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if you don't mind, I'd love to. Thank you. Thanks for offering.
I thought we were having a meeting here tonight.
Let's go take a quick look around the grounds right now. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Just go around the back and the background.
Well, watch your shoes on the trip.
Oh yes, thank you.
I'm just gonna follow you. You just walk and do whatever you need to do.
All right. Well, we're just gonna go walk through here really quickly. Had an opportunity just to walk around the grounds of this historic house. It dates back to 1827, I think it was. Just walk around the backside. That was nice. Nice gentleman came up and offered to let me walk around the back side of this house here. I was trying to get a hold of the good folks who had the Mahone Tavern. I've been through the Mahone Tavern before and had a great tour of that, and wasn't able to get a hold of him today. So the Franklin Garden Club Memorial Garden. And so this is part of the, I believe, the County Historical Society. Is that right? Oh, it looks like it's a really well-maintained house for being 200 years old.
We try.
Well, thank you. I'll tell you what, if I lived around here, I would join your historical society.
We'd love to have. We need some young blood.
Well, I ain't that young, but I do like to get around. I love this stuff. I do like to contribute to any historical society I can.
I heard you mention Mahone Tavern.
Yes.
We've got a meeting there at 6 o'clock. I thought we had one here. We do have one here, maybe.
Well, is it in?
Are you local? You're not local, are you?
No, but I do live in Virginia,
Where you from?
Fredericksburg area.
Where are you from?
Fredericksburg.
Oh, Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
And my grandson just moved to Fredericksburg.
So, well, thank you, sir.
Well, you're certainly welcome.
I'm gonna keep walking down this direction over here.
Mahone's Tavern's got a meeting at 6 o'clock. I'll be up there. If you're around, maybe we can show you some more of that than you've seen.
Oh, I would love it. I'll tell you what, I'll see if I can stay around here.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're certainly welcome.
Maybe see you a bit later today.
Take care. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. It's a wonderful day out. Yeah, that was wonderful. Just walk over this way. They said that Mahone Tavern are having a meeting today at 6 o'clock. So maybe we'll go in here after all. So here's the Southampton Courthouse. Once again, dates back to 1830 era, but that preceded one that was over 100 years before that. First courthouse was before the American Revolution. All right, so coming up to the Mahone Tavern, it's right here. Now the SCV, in many ways, owns or made this possible, the purchase of this. Now this was a tavern. It was bought by Mahone back in, I think it was 1840, and predates 1840. I think it dates back to the late 1700s. But there are some great displays in here. So the tavern right over here coming up to it. But it was here that William Mahone, as a child, well, I think he was 14 years old when he came here. His family members bought this. He spent a lot of time here. He ended up earning money. He went to VMI, became a famous Confederate general. He was that famous Confederate general who was known for served in many battles, and most famously in Petersburg at the siege when there was the Battle of the Crater. He was the one who led the Confederates, who were dazed in that huge explosion from that huge crater. He was the one who led them to turning what looked like was going to be a massive slaughter into a huge, tremendous victory. But before we do that, I'm going to look at this right here. This is the Vaughan's Tavern, which is, as you can see, it's right directly across from the Southampton Courthouse, right there. So you see, it says, crowds gathered at Jerusalem's taverns, attracted by the trials of Nat Turner and his followers. Ideally located across the street from the Southampton County Courthouse, these taverns served as the hub of social and business activity during court sessions. Built in the late 1790s, Vaughan's Tavern is no longer standing. Next door to Vaughan's establishment was Calo's Tavern, later known as Mahone's Tavern. One right there. Turner's trial, they're going back to Nat Turner again, attracted much attention, but only a few could see the execution. However, many stayed in these taverns and witnessed the climax of the 1831 Southampton insurrection. The Petersburg Intelligencer stated that when Nat Turner was hanged, he betrayed no emotion. He exhibited the utmost composure throughout the whole ceremony. By late November 1831, the insurrectionist trial and executions were over, and Jerusalem returned to normal as the quiet rural county seat. In 1831, the town's taverns were refuges for the county's frightened white families, and headquarters for the assembly of militias arriving to quell the rebellion. You can read more about that here. This is merrymaking at the Wayside Inn from about 1812 here, attributed to an artist. It says, this painting depicts travelers dancing in a typical roadside tavern in the early 1810s. Let's walk over here to the Mahone Tavern. It's now the museum. This building dates back to about 1796. So once again, you can see there's the courthouse. And here's this historical sign. And we'll read about this here in just a moment. But take it from a different perspective. Here is the Mahone's Tavern. And this, I don't think this was here last time. This is a new sign. This is placed here in 2024. That's why I don't recognize it from last time, because it has been about 2 years since I was here last. All right, so Mahone's Tavern. Mahone's Tavern, this was built in about 1796 across from the Southampton County Courthouse. Once again, it's right across the street from the County Courthouse. So here's the County Courthouse. And here is the tavern. Wait for the trucks to pass by. All right, Mahone's Tavern, built around 1796 across from the Southampton County Courthouse, was a center of political and social activity for more than a century. Known as Kilo's Tavern early in the 1800s, it served as a refuge for citizens, as an encampment for soldiers at the time of Nat Turner's insurrection in 1831. Fielding J. Mahone operated the tavern from 1841 to 1855. His son, William Mahone, a railroad magnate, Confederate Major General, leader of the biracial Readjuster Party, and U.S. Senator, lived here as a youth. John J. Kindred, a 5-term congressman from New York, lived here as a child in the 1860s. Also known as Howard's Hotel, the building is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So this is where Mahone had lived or came as a youth. Now, when I first came here for a while, they were flying the first national flag. And I'm going to keep asking them to bring it back. They should have that, at least that one. But hey, it looks like they've got an early 1860 era federal flag right here. You can see this is the Mahone Tavern. Once again, I hope let's see if there's more commentary. Now, this historical marker was here much longer, and this will probably get us more information about that. Mahone's Tavern. One of the oldest buildings in Southampton County, Mahone's Tavern was a social, transportation, and political hub of Jerusalem, which is now Courtland. Because of its proximity to the county courthouse, and once again, just taking a look at that, the county courthouse is right across the street. Beginning in 1796, the structure served as a tavern, operated by different proprietors as Kilo's Tavern from 1799 to 1828, and Vaughan's Tavern from 1829 to 1839, until Fielding Mahone bought it in 1840. Mahone also bought Hart's Tavern next door and connected the buildings with a passageway to form Mahone's Tavern. William Mahone, the future Confederate general, was 13 years old when he moved to the tavern, and later claimed that his winnings from the gambling here enabled him to enter the Virginia Military Institute, VMI. In 1853, he was appointed chief engineer of the Norfolk and Petersburg Railroad. He became president in 1860. After Virginia seceded in 1861, Mahone served as lieutenant colonel of Virginia Volunteers, then rose in rank to brigadier general. He was promoted to major general after 1864 Battle of the Crater in Petersburg for preventing the city's capture. Historian Douglas Southall